Now we're going to spend some time picking apart the week's biggest stories. They're all right here in the Loop Week in Review. My guest tonight from San Francisco, CNET executive editor Tom Merritt, from Washington, D.C., the face behind USA Today's Pop Candy blog, Whitney Matheson, and from Los Angeles, editor-in-chief of IGN's Gear Channel and winner of Best Hair for the Day, Jerry Block. Welcome to the Loop, everybody. Let's get it started. There's been damage control all week long to save Grindhouse after it earned only $11.6 million. Whitney, I mean, there are hopes, this week from Weinstein Company that the film could be revived if it were split into two, or maybe when it gets to DVD. Is that going to happen at this point?
I don't know, because we still haven't heard from the filmmakers about that. So, personally, I hope they don't. The original concept was to release it as a double feature.
Right.
And so I don't know. It's still just a rumor at this stage.
Do you think if they tried to split it up that Rodriguez and Tarantino would throw a fit?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think, originally they really wanted it to be like a double feature, like at the drive-in. And, yeah, if they released it separately, it kind of takes away from the whole original concept of the film.
Jerry, I know you saw the film. The machine gun leg, awesome, but that's all it really did for you?
Yeah, I think Planet Terror was the better movie of the two. It certainly grabbed me more. And, with Tarantino's much criticized long dialogue scene at the beginning of his movie, when that goes down, 2 hours into the whole experience and people have to wait through that or know that they will have to wait through that, it's really just not helping the concept or the potential popularity.
Right. So split it in two so maybe people can avoid it altogether. It makes sense. Might make them a couple bucks. Let's move it on to Sony, because on Wednesday they announced that they were discontinuing the 20-gigabyte version of the PlayStation 3. Tom, do you think Sony's reconsidering its strategy here? I mean, what's their motivation for only having one PlayStation 3? And do you think we might see an 80-gig unit that some people are rumoring as well?
Yeah, it makes you wonder why they did it at all, right? I mean, they had the 20 gig out for, a few months here, and we're not even halfway through 2007. They've already killed it. I think they're reacting to the Xbox 360 coming out with the massive 120 gigabyte hard drive in the new Xbox 360 Elite, and figuring, well, geez, there's not even a 20 gigabyte Xbox 360 out there. Might as well just kill that part of the product line that wasn't selling that well anyway, frankly,
right,
and just put all our efforts into the 60 gig. And yeah, not only will we might see an upgrade to the hard drive and maybe an 80 gigabyte version, but even more likely we might see a PS3 price drop as they try to remain competitive.
Well, see, then that's, Jerry, I'm curious what your opinion is there, because it's an interesting move to react to the Elite by cleaving the cheaper of your models. So now it seems like the PlayStation 3 is even that much more expensive than, a lesser 360. Do you think there will be a price drop?
It would be interesting if this did precede a price drop. Obviously a $600 60 gigabyte PS3 doesn't compare favorably with the Xbox 360 Elite. Sony has gone on the record several times previously saying that they had no plans for a price drop for America anytime soon. But obviously the somewhat mediocre sales so far might be changing that. If there is a price drop, it'll certainly be a major strategy change for Sony.
Sure, and perhaps a bit of a warning flare that even Sony knows they might be in a bit of trouble?
Big time.
All right, now let's go on to 24, because this one's got the office a little riled up. I mean, it literally started off with a bang this season, but soon petered off. I mean, many complain that this season is a little boring, a little bit repetitive, and that it's being overly violent for really no good reason. I mean, why has the show lost its edge, Whitney? What's going on here?
Well, it's had a few problems. One problem is that it's been repetitive. A lot of the stuff we've seen in previous seasons, a lot of the conflict between the president and the vice president, we feel like we've seen it all before. And then it seemed at first like a good thing to bring in Jack's family, but that quickly kind of turned into a family drama that we could see anywhere else, really. And it wasn't really believable the longer it went on.
Right.
And plus, am I the only person who hates Chloe's makeover? What is up with that? I can't stand Chloe this season at all, and she used to be my favorite character.
Well, now, what about the criticism that it's too violent, Whitney? I mean, wouldn't we rather see Jack Bauer kick some ass than see, Tony Soprano staring at the lake, gossiping with his family?
Yeah.
I mean, don't we like a little violence?
I mean, I think that it's always been a violent show. That's one thing. But this season, it seems like a lot of times it's really resorted to violence just because it hasn't really had anything else. And it hasn't had substance. It kind of resorts to violence as,
right,
a substitute for good story.
Jerry, you still watching 24?
I kind of burned out this season, I have to admit,
Tom, did you ever jump in this season?
Yeah, I never jumped into 24 at all, but it sounds pretty familiar, which is, a series keeps pushing it. I'm surprised they were able to carry this concept as far as they did, and eventually they just have to fall back on being a little shallow, is what it sounds like, just throwing in violence and not having the storylines to really elevate it.
It's sort of like, let's release the nuke, let's just drop the bomb, and
we don't know where to go with the story, blow something up.
Exactly. Well, at least they dropped the bomb. All right. This week, MySpace
is they did.
Oh, go ahead, Whitney. What's that?
Well, they did resolve the big nuclear bomb subplot, the big plot this week. So next week it could turn around with the whole Audrey Jack, the new plot for the next 7 episodes.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Let's go to something that happened this week, though, which is MySpace. They surprised a lot of us when they started banning uploads from PhotoBucket. I mean, everybody uses that service on their profiles, it seems. Tom, why would a site that's already seeing, some would say, a decline in popularity make such a move this drastic? I mean, is this the beginning of the end for MySpace? They were being overlooked at the Webbies, they got the spammers, and now they're blocking their own users' content?
Yeah, it's not new for MySpace. They've had problems with Rever and other third-party issues in the past. YouTube even, they had a little tussle with about blocking YouTube videos. So it's not unlike a News Corp property to go through these sort of things where they try to really keep everybody inside the fence. And from what I heard, PhotoBucket had made some comments that if they got blocked, people would stay with PhotoBucket, and so MySpace may have decided to call their bluff on it. But yeah, I've moved on to Facebook for that sort of thing, or even Twitter as far as social networking, or JAIKU, J-A-I-K-U. So I think MySpace is starting to enter the AOL phase of its career. It's not going away anytime soon, but it's got its user base, and that's probably going to be what it has for a while.
Whitney, what are your thoughts on that real quick? Is MySpace heading to an AOL 4.0 kind of action here?
I mean, I think it is starting to anger a lot of its users, but it's still a hugely popular site, and, you mentioned the Webbies, but then again, this week, a big story. A lot of my users were upset by the Webby nominations, and they left out a whole lot of other people aside from MySpace.
Very true. And Jerry, because we're way out of time, what's the movie that you said to get? There's one that just came out this week. Everybody's going to talk about it.
Yeah, Sleeping Dogs Lie.
About a woman who used to
do something. See the movie and find out. It may get people talking, at least.
Excellent tease. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it at the end of next week. I want to thank all my guests for keeping us in the loop. Thank you so much for your time, everybody.
Attack of the Show, weeknights at 7, only on G4.